with Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith. We'll be talking to you about General Washington at Bay, Burgoyne's blundering invasion, and strange French bedfellows. Skip, what's your opinion on George Washington?
Well, my opinion is that he is a bad leader, a bad general, and that the colonies to keep him as the leader, they're going to lose.
That is ludicrous. That doesn't make. Why would you think this? I would like to.
One example that really stands out in my mind is a British invasion of New York in 1776. When the British invaded, they were outmaneuvered, outgeneraled, and George Washington was lucky to escape with his life and the rest of his army's lives.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's a bad general. Keep in mind, yes, he was outmaneuvered and he was outgeneraled, but that doesn't mean he's bad because think of the circumstances, Skip. He had very little men and he had very little resources. With what he had, he did very good. He actually had the ability to escape, which is pretty good.
No, but the only reason he did escape was luck. Lucky fog and a lucky wind, that's all that allowed him to be able to escape.
Well, that's irrelevant because sometimes you need luck. You need luck to win. You can't just win with zero luck.
But the thing is, Stephen, he didn't win. He lost. And if you need luck to lose, you're not a good general.
Well, that's where you're wrong. He didn't lose necessarily. Yes, he escaped, and by that he actually was able to regroup, get his stuff right. He was able to plan out, and what he actually did, he ended up crossing the Delaware, he didn't have to rely on luck with this because he crossed the Delaware River while being he ended up crossing the Delaware he didn't have to rely on luck with this because he crossed the Delaware River while being trailed by British. So, as he crossed the Delaware River, he went to Trenton and he captured over 1,000 Hessians, which is genius. Which is genius, Skip. Because what happened was, he did it when nobody expected him to do it. He did it during Christmas, when everybody's celebrating and having their fun, which is genius because he's supposed to be at home drinking wine or do whatever.
One smart decision, Stephen, does not make someone a good general.
This wasn't just one thing. For example, when the campfires situation, he set up campfires and he got the British to think that, oh, well, they're still in bed, they're still resting, it's Christmas time, or whatever. But no, what he was actually doing, it was a decoy, because he's supposed to be at home drinking wine or do whatever.
One smart decision, Stephen, does not make someone a good general.
This wasn't just one thing. For example, when the campfires situation, he set up campfires and he got the British to think that, oh, well, they're still in bed, they're still resting, it's Christmas time, or whatever. But no. What he was actually doing, it was a decoy. Did I mess it up or something?
No.
Oh, it was a decoy. You can trim that, right? Yeah, you can trim this too. It was a decoy. He went out instead. While the British thinking that they were still resting, he went out and he defeated a British detachment over in Princeton. That's called being smart. That's genius. That's why I believe General Washington is the right man for the job, Skip. And you're a darn fool if you don't think so.
Well, that's all we have time for. Now we're going to show you some clips.
Row, double row, 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 single row, 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 especially you, row. Bam! 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 Bam!
No, LeBron is the better player.
No, he's not. KD scores more points.
That doesn't mean anything. LeBron is a way more outstanding player, overall player, better passing and everything.
No way.
Yes,
KD plays better defense.
Guys, we're back with Burgoyne's blundering invasion.
We'll talk about this later.
All right. So, what do you think about this?
What do I think about this? First, I'm gonna ask you, hey Matt, what do you think about this invasion of Burgoyne's? Like, what?
Well,
do you think it affected anything?
Not really, Stephen. Not really. It didn't do much. All Burgoyne did was travel 1 mile a day through Upper New York. And let's be honest, people, I can do that like in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's pretty bad. No offense, but yeah.
Hey, none taken. I'm a slow. I'm slow.
Yeah.
Right. So, and with Benedict Arnold really stepped up here. I mean, getting shot in the leg twice, and still coming up. It's amazing. Like, and
That's a great.
and
Yeah.
especially because this was a very well thought out plan, and it seemed good on paper, and then Benedict Arnold came up and just blew it out of the
Yeah, and it's not like Burgoyne like just completely messed up. His plan was actually a very good plan. He thought it out well. But just the only problem was they came in a little bit too overconfident. Am I right?
Yeah,
Almost not prepared, kind of undermining or kind of underestimating the power and the heart and the grit of the Patriots.
and underestimating the environment too. I don't think
Yeah.
they expected the trees to be that hard to get through.
Yeah, and then brilliant plan by Arnold by making barricades with the trees. I mean, it's just a really good way to just they completely stepped up, and then scouting, setting them up in the forest and just attacking.
And you can't forget the new weapons and tactics.
Yeah,
too.
the new weapon. I mean, the grooves and the barrels,
The bayonets,
Man,
the attacking generals, which they really didn't do before in the past.
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
that was genius to hit the leader first, so they have no stability.
Yeah.
I mean, to take out their command system. Yeah, that just very smart overall. And that's the main reason why Burgoyne's invasion did not work out how it was supposed to. And that's why the colonists really stepped up big, or the Patriot side. And that's why the Patriots ended up becoming successful. You agree?
And yes, I do agree. And here's some footage of the attacks.
And because, and they just magically had cameras back then. But here you go.
This is General Howe and his British soldiers going into invade a colonial stronghold right now. Bleep, 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 bleep.
Oh my God!
In this clip, the king and the prime minister of France are having a fight whether to send money to the colonies to help the colonists secede from Britain. The king gets what he wants, and the money goes to the colonists.
And now we're back with First Take. And we'll talk to you about strange French bedfellows. What's that about?
Well, what it is the French helping America in the Revolution with weaponry, ammunition, and money.
Yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory when you read the section. I mean, French saw that the colonists needed help. Okay, they gave them resources, and they knew if the colonists were to somehow knock off the powerhouse Britain Empire, then that means the French, they would end up being in power, like they
With a
used
chance
be,
to take number one.
just like they were when King Louis was there.
Alright.
With the money they gave, it allowed them to make guns, buy guns, and just help them immensely.
Alright, well, since you're talking about money, how much money was that?
It was about 3 billion livre in all.
In weapons, weaponry, ammunition,
Then sending supplies back and forth.
supplies.
Alright, well, what do you guys think if the French were to tax the colonists?
Like, would it be justified?
Well,
Would it be justified?
I don't like the word tax there because there's no way to enforce a tax if the colonies or the
Because
newfound country
We're
weren't
not
bound
part
to
of it.
France.
Yeah. And I have another question. Is it like, are you talking about kind of how the British did to the colonists?
Yes, force them to pay it back.
Force them to pay it back. Okay. If they were to use the same tactic as the British. I don't think it'd be justified.
I do, Stephen.
Okay,
I
you can
do.
go first. You can go first.
All right.
Since you think you're so bad and big.
Well, I am because without the French, America wouldn't be America. They would be British colonies, and I feel America owes a deep debt of gratitude towards the French, and they need to pay that back. And if they don't pay all $3 billion back, that's okay, because just enough to balance the scales a tiny little bit.
Yeah.
Make France from
But-
bankrupt to broke.
But here's the thing. if the colonists did not pay him back, I would be kind of disappointed, but only if they decided to make a deal at the beginning. Like if France said, okay, we'll give you this stuff if in return you pay us back. And especially if they do it, if they force it like the British did, like bring French troops into their homes like the British did, and go onto people's property and make their own rules, just like the British military did, make random rules up and just force it onto the colony. That's not fair. That's not even their. That's not even their place. But
what would you do then if America just said, nah, we're good, we're not gonna pay back? What would you do?
For me, I'd be kind of mad, but you also got to think of it this way. You got to be smart. If I was French, if I really wanted the money back, I would have made a deal in the beginning. I mean, you can't just do someone a favor and expect something back. Especially like in a friendship, like if you're your best friend, if you give him $5 and you go up to him and you don't say anything like you have to pay me back, you wouldn't expect him to pay you back. And the other person wouldn't pay you back. But if I were me, if I wanted to pay me back, I would say, hey, I'll give you this $5 if next week you pay me back.
Hey, but they're not. This is not a friendship here. This is it's not about being friends with the other country.
Okay.
It's about being allies.
All right. If in that case, then they should set up a deal in the beginning. Am I right?
Yeah, I see your point, but they didn't. And the past is the past, and you can't change it. And so I think the French should say pretty forcefully that the Americans should pay them back.
Well, it isn't right because, like what the British troops did, if the colonists were to oppose or anything, the British troops would take them, they send them on boats, and they send them rotting and dying in those boats.
Okay.
That's extreme force that is too unnecessary. And I think if they were to do that, that'd be completely not justified. If the French troops were to do that. And another example is, imagine if like you're strolling down the street in your car, and someone comes up and sprays your window and cleans it, and then hands them was like, give me $5, ask you for money. That's not right. I mean, that's not cool at all. You don't expect the money back like that. Or if you get a birthday card full of money, you don't expect the person to pay you back with that.
Okay, but is this a birthday present to
No.
America?
No, it isn't. But I'm using that as a metaphor. You got to keep in mind. And the thing is,
All right, well,
You
I'm
don't
tired of you
expect-
guys arguing. I'm out. You guys are giving me a headache.
okay, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm sick of your attitude, and I'm sick of his. I'm sick of this show.
KD is better than
No,
LeBron.
I'm bringing this back up. LeBron is about 5 times
K-
better, and he deserves to win
KD
MVP, and you
is
know
better
it.
than
No,
LeBron.
how is he better? How is he better?
Hey,
Y'all-
are
y'all-
you really looking to fight? Are you looking to fight?
Go.
Fire! Pow! Pow! Ah!
Brown, 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 brown. Oh. Brown, 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 brown.
Fire!
Bam, 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 bam.